I'm curious to hear what you guys think about if you get like a large number of comments, you know, how do you manage all of them? So there's a couple of options here I want to put on the table for us to talk about. And one is you can either, you should be replying to some of them, right? So take the time that you have, half hour, an hour a day, whatever it is, you sit down, you crank through as many comments as you can, you leave it at that. Whoever gets unanswered, too bad, right? Or option B is you hire someone to go through your comments or reply to them for you under your channel, but you know, at the end they'll put their own name so that it's clear that it's not Tim or Evan replying, that it's actually you know, someone else. So I would love to hear what you guys think. Evan Doobie, what do you think?
I mean, I would be really I would feel pretty bad, I was going to say, if it wasn't you responding to your YouTube creator's channel. It really feels like it's you, so I'm going to be shocked and surprised if you say that you farm it out.
I don't.
I know. I would say it would be.
So you'd rather have nobody? You'd rather have nobody, Evan?
I guess I would rather have. You know, there's a bunch of those that don't need to be, I guess, responded to, that are just like, oh my God, this is so great, thanks.
But you wouldn't want a response from Tim's assistant to say, hey, thanks so much, glad you're enjoying it, Nancy.
Oh, I see. So that it was marked with somebody else. Then that would make sense. What I wouldn't want is some advice that came from someone else that was meant to be in the tongue of you. Right.
Right. No, what do you think? You mark it with your assistant's name, right?
Yeah. That. I mean, of course, I think that's fine.
Would you feel like, oh, I talked to Tim and he apparently, like, would you feel like Tim doesn't care enough to respond, or would you feel like Tim's unreachable, or Tim's like, you know, too good to be here, or something like that, or anything?
No, I would say Tim's probably been responding to comments and making 6 trillion videos, and if I really want his attention, he's got a bunch of paid things that. Sorry, my dryer just went on. He's got a bunch. Oh, you don't? Cool. He's got.
Your video too. We got dryers. We got running. We need some Tim action. Something happening there.
You got to multitask in this blabbing life.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, I would personally, as a person who runs a couple of different entrepreneurial endeavors, has a family. I know you have like 1 million kids at your house and more on the way. I would understand that not only if I didn't hear back, that if I really had questions that were going to take up your time, I would expect, to be quite honest, I would expect to pay you for that time. I think, you know, you might run into some trouble with the lifestyle blogging thing, because that's all like, this is all fun and games.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be the, you know, so like the way to think of it as like a customer service, be like, well, if you call a company, you don't expect to talk to the owner of the company. But I was thinking like, this isn't a company, this is like a personality, and people are commenting, engaging directly, thinking they're engaging directly with that person on YouTube. And then it would be like the analogy I think of it as, and I totally opened, like, I don't know this is true, this is just how I proceeded it so far. Is if like you walked up to me and say, Tim, what you shared was just awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then I just turn and walk away, and someone else comes up and says, Tim, thanks you so much for, you know, that, whatever, you know, that's kind of how I think of it. Is like, it's more of like an awkward, like antisocial.
Okay. But Tim, it doesn't have to be that person saying Tim thanks you. It's Nancy saying thank you, who's on your team. Right. Okay. And then Nancy becomes a part of the conversation. And it's better than not getting a response at all, right? Well, you know the data better than me. When you get a response on a comment, doesn't it increase your chance of getting subscribers by like 7 times or something?
Does it what?
Increase your chance of getting us.
When somebody leaves a comment and you respond, doesn't it increase the chance of them subscribing to your channel by 7 times or something like that? I thought Matt Ballick said something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any stats on that.
Anyway, there's a huge number. Like, if you respond to comments, there's a big likelihood that that person's now going to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, and there's also a big likelihood that other people who are just eavesdropping and aren't commenting, but they're browsing through the comments saying like, oh, this guy's responding. like there's an active community here. He actually is listening. Like, they're more likely to comment and to subscribe.
So what my wife does, like she responds to the comments for me, but under her name. It'll say Nina C at the end. That's her name. But she'll respond just to the comments that are the like, thank you so much, good video, really loved it, just like the typical praise stuff. And anything that she doesn't know how to deal with, questions for me, haters, something that she doesn't understand, she flags for me in an Evernote file, and I go through that daily and then just start answering them. But I get 300 plus comments a day, so I'm at the point where I can't do it anymore, right? Like you'll get to a point where you physically will not be able to respond to all the comments as your channel grows.
Right. Especially if a lot of them are questions, follow-ups to the, you know, to the topic or the question, or what about this, what about that? And you're like, whoo, these take like a while to respond to a lot of these.
Well, isn't this a great forum for down the road? You can do a video saying that I'm going to be doing a lot of, you know, a weekly Q&A for the 3. How many video creators videos are you doing now?
3, yeah.
I think it's 3. You know,
yeah, it takes a lot of time.
I would show, I mean, between making them and writing them and the rest of the stuff, I would show up to your hour-long thing where people could not only get the question answered that they had right then, but also, you know, I could learn a bunch because other people had a bunch of questions. I mean, the depth of Blab would allow so much more community-based interaction stuff. I think would be pretty effective, and you could scale it as opposed to like sit there and oh my god. I mean, given as many years as you've been doing it, I'm sure it's got to be making you nuts by now, even though you know it's your bread and butter.
I'm thinking, you know, I guess I always just kind of quickly discounted it as like they're trying to talk to me, but I can't talk back to them. So why would I give them someone else to talk to instead? But it sounds like people would rather just have their voice acknowledged than skipped over completely. So,
but again, if your assistant is flagging the important questions for you,
how do you guys flag them?
What?
How do you guys flag them for like this?
We'll copy anything that's for me into an Evernote file, and that syncs between our computers to shared file. And then I look at it and I answer all of those comments. So like now you're missing it, right? You spend X amount of time per day on comments, and then the rest just go left unanswered totally. You could be missing some great stuff in there. Great questions, great support, collab opportunities. You just don't even check. And understandable, right? You get so many comments. Like for everybody who's watching may say, I'll just do it, answer the questions, come on. Like you'll reach that point where you just have too many comments because you can't do it.
So she copies the question into Evernote and you reply to them in Evernote, and then she copies it back as an answer to the comment?
No, I'll do it. I'll go myself to the video. She'll copy the link with the comment at the top. Yeah. And then I just go, I'll log in and answer it myself.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I tend to handle comments a little bit differently on our family's channel just because of time. And that is at the end of every video, I just pick a couple of the comments and the questions and I just answer them at the end of the video. So I just like, so people know I'm reading them. They know I'm watching. They know like when they post something, I see it. But I think people really like seeing their name, you know, in the video. And it's kind of like a lottery drawing. Like, will I get in tomorrow's video, you know, the next video if I comment on this one? So I found that kind of does the same thing for increasing engagement is when they know that you're reading it and that there's a chance they might be in the next video.
And then what about your conversion ratio from people who are commenting a lot to being like you giving them a call to action to get into a program of yours? Or is that a goal of yours, or, you know, does that work?
As far as like the people who buy from me, are they usually the ones who are commenting the most?
Or the ones who are commenting most, do they end up buying because of the interaction?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I mean, does it not act as a signal though, Tim, too, for the channel? More comments you get, you get better rankings, or no?
Comments don't play a big factor in search, no, just because it's easy to game it. So
right, but then people will come back. Like if you reply to them and ask them a question or something, they might come back. That counts as another view, a little bit more watch time, right?
Yeah, and it does impact, like if you have someone who's like a heavy hitter on YouTube, they have a lot of subscribers and they comment on your video, then if they're sharing their YouTube activity, then that could show up in the recommended and what to watch feed for people. Like everyone who's subscribed to Evan, and then Evan comments on one of my videos and he's sharing that activity. So everyone who's subscribed, not everyone, but the people who are subscribed to Evan that Google thinks my video will be relevant to, they're like, hey, look at this, like, Evan commented here, you might want to check that out. You know, so there's some discoverability influence that way, but not from a direct like higher rankings and organic search and related. So cool, guys. Well, this has been fun. This has been helpful. Thank you, Evans, for helping me think through this a little bit.
Stay healthy, Mr. Carmichael.
I'm sorry?
I said stay healthy, Mr. Carmichael, I believe. Cool.
Yeah, I like it when like my assumptions are challenged in a way that would make my life better.
Good.
So
cool.
We'll see. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out.
Cheers.